And what I've heard, she's in good condition, good shape, as all the athletes having to go through these rifle checks. So the trigger pressure, you can see it there, the weight just going on the trigger, which has to be a greater snapping strain than 50 grams. Everybody's tested, and that's a safety issue. And then the magazines are checked, that there's 5 rounds in each of the magazines. The athletes put spares, and then the rifle is marked.
Yeah, just to explain that, just the lighter the trigger pressure, the easier it is to have an ND, a negligent discharge, the round going off when you don't want it to.
Yes, and a couple of rule changes coming in this season to ensure greater safety, just small rules, making sure the bolt is forward and remains forward until you reach the range. Otherwise, that will be breaking the rules.
So 4 in a team, obviously, for the mixed relay, and Finland once again relying on Kaisa Mäkäräinen. She'll go on the second leg for Finland. It'll be interesting to see how they get on, but with a single mixed relay as well, teams have the option of saying, well, let's put all our eggs into that race and hope we produce something good. Well, welcome to Ostersund. There you see a quick profile of the course. Those of you who've watched over the years will be very familiar with it. No real changes. Tough section after the first, 500-600 meters, the big climb up through the woods. And then the crucial stage, quite a long descent. You have that second little climb before you come back into the stadium, but it is a good, 45 seconds to a minute of easy skiing before you shoot. So really shouldn't be any problems. Traditionally, we've had some pretty strong winds in this stadium. We have, and today it is again strong from the left. The big lake in the far distance, looking down the range, always having that influence here. As you're right, I think the easiest entry to the range, but one of the more difficult ranges to shoot on with the wind difficulty. So just to explain what's going on, the mixed relays today, and then we have a couple of days off. We start racing again on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, plenty of action to catch up on, and that really is the main start of the World Cup. But the mixed relay is becoming more and more important. It's always produced fascinating races, no doubt about it. There aren't many teams who don't put in a strong lineup now. And when it's part of the majors, the Worlds and the Olympics, of course, any gold medal's worth the same as any other. So teams are really trying to develop their skills in this relay, and it's not easy to find your right team. It's not, and it's only been underway for 9 years at World Championships level. I think it's a great race. So the front grid: Germany, Norway, France, wearing 3, Brézard, Bescon. Fabien Claudy gets a start, and then of course Quentin Fillon-Maillet is going to be the anchor leg for France. Believe it or not, their main man, Martin Fourcade, has gone in the single mixed relay alongside Doran. That is going to be a strong combination. I think Norway look as though they're the only team that might give them a little bit of trouble. So we're now just seconds away from the first race of the season. It's a mixed relay, 4 in a team. The 2 women go first, the 2 men taking the second legs. Women racing over 6K, the men racing over 7.5. They each have 2 shoots to complete. First in the prone, second in the stand, and the shooting should be of a very high quality this evening.
It's incredible that it's dark at this early hour, only 3:30 local time, and yes, the lights are all around the stadium. Each team, they've had training at this time in the afternoon, so they're well used to the dark background and the targets being lit up by the lighting in the stadium. Good natural snow. Often we just see this tongue of snow going around the woods and the forest and the fields, but the natural snow here.
Well, we might as well get the news about the British squad over and done with, Mike. 24 teams entered today. Great Britain are not one of them.
No, the ranking dropped last year down to 26, mostly through lack of funding, not taking part in all the races. And so they find themselves in a difficult situation now, where only one male athlete can compete and one female. And Amanda Lightfoot and Scott Dixon going later in the single mixed relay.
So hopefully they can do something special there. Sure, it was absent from a number of the races, but also not getting good enough points is the crucial aspect.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, look back to 2002, the team was ranked 19th, dropped down to, well, through the years, down to 24th, 25th last year, and yes, it's declined sadly over the years.
And just look what's happening in the cross-country world. Andrew Young, not on top form at the moment, but he certainly looks as though he can repeat his success of last year. Andy Musgrave already with a top 10 result in the bag in this afternoon's 15-kilometre up in Ruka.
Yeah, no, that was quite incredible. And in biathlon, I've always still believe, and hopefully we'll see Amanda and Scott this afternoon in the single mixed relay, proving that they can get into this field, up into this field of biathlon.
So through the first checkpoint, and it's the Czech Republic who've had a fair amount of success in this event. It absolutely suits them. It's not that the Czechs aren't a big team, but they're a good team, and they seem to be able to compete with the top nations, Germany, Norway, France, on these occasions. Vitkova has the first leg, Kukalova has the second leg for the Czech Republic, and then Schlesinger and Moravec. So they've got a massive amount of experience taking legs 3 and 4. And we have seen fairly often the Czechs leading at the halfway stage.
Yes, we have. And remember Italy last year, it was a great start for the Italians, and then shooting on the wrong target, and then another penalty, I think, for not counting their penalty loops. Got a huge amount of time against them, and hopefully they'll organise themselves slightly better today.
Yeah, just to let you know what happened in this race last year. Norway won, Germany second, the Czech Republic third, France were fourth, slightly underperforming, but again they didn't have their strongest team doing this relay. Sweden in 5, not a bad performance from the host nation, and Russia down in 6, and none of the smaller nations coming through. And then of course the World Championships, which were in Oslo last year, France, Germany, Norway, the top 3, with Ukraine, Austria and the Czech Republic, the teams just missing out on the podium. So here we go, back down towards the stadium, but they'll turn left and make another little climb before they come in to shoot for the first time. It's quite a stiff, it doesn't look steep, but it is quite a stiff hill. But you've got plenty of time to recover, so some would say you can afford to push the pace up this section.
Well, without a doubt, you want to get clear space, as Selina Gasparin is showing us at the front. And as you say, look at the recovery time from here. 4:05, cresting the top of this one. There's another little rise before you spin left, and then the flat 200 before the shooting. What a spread. That is a 17-18 second spread from first, 19 second from first to last.
Gasparin, great start from her, and she's been the star of the Swiss team over the last 2-3 seasons. She's got herself some World Cup wins, got real faith in herself, and of course comes from a strong family of biathletes. And she's opened up a decent margin. So you said 4:05 at the top, Mike, and it's still going to be another 20 seconds before they shoot. It's flat anyway, so really it depends what the snow conditions are like as to how easy that section is. but an opportunity to bring the pulse rates down to a manageable level. Here we go, the wind picking up over the last 10 minutes, and quite a stiff breeze blowing from left to right. We'll keep an eye on that as the evening goes on, and there's certainly an aspect of the wind coming from the range towards the firing point.
Yes, and I think the shots, any missed targets, their sights have been centred for this, finishing 10 minutes before the race started. So, and the days they've had here, the experience they've had, they'll know where the fall of the shot is likely to go. The
little yellow flashes on the right-hand side of the target indicating misses. Gasparin of Switzerland had none. Belarus have gone clear as well. So have Sweden. Little cheer from the crowd. A miss from USA, but getting it down very quickly with the spare round. That's Susan Dunkley. Russia go clear. Italy, we were talking about their misfortune last year. They've not started well. 3 misses already. They could be on the penalty loop, as could Vitkova of the Czech Republic. That's a disaster for the Czech Republic. Surely it will go down at the 3rd time of asking. No, a penalty loop for the Czech Republic. And that surely means, well, it's early to say they're not going to make the podium, but it's now unlikely.
That's a bad start. The wind, look for, if we can just see the range in the far distance there, it's certainly more windy middle of the range than it is left or right.
'18, that's Japan, sorry, Faraya. And Switzerland getting out with a lead of 3.7 seconds. And I think Gasparin could have capitalised on that. I can't see Anna Magnusson staying with the speed of the Swiss competitor over the next loop. 2 Ks each loop, taking well under 6 minutes to complete. Up the big climb for the second time. Snow conditions are much better than we've seen in previous years. It's always been a bit tricky, but nice to see that the Alps has had a good dumping of snow. It's been cold up in Scandinavia. Most of the teams getting in some good training early on. Where was your favoured resort for the pre-season period? Well,
it's always Scandinavia. Idre, a good place. Auslid, not many teams, the big teams not going there, but it used to be a good centre with a 30-lane range there. Many. Trysil's a good place.
Would you opt for one of the towns with a tunnel now, or would you? A lot of places like Idre, they lay the snow early. They build mountains of artificial snow whenever the temperature drops.
Do you know? I think I would take. I was up there in the middle of October, from the 15th of October in Kontiolahti, where the World Championships were 2 years ago. You could ski. They put down a 3.54 kilometre track. 0.75 of a metre deep, wide enough for 2 or 3 people to ski side by side. It was excellent, fairly quiet range, so to learn skills and to have a quiet training camp, and they put the wall in the very steep climb, so you could prepare all your skills on that track.
Any international teams there when you were there?
Yes, there were a number of teams there, good teams, good athletes. More were coming later, middle of October. A lot of teams still down on the glaciers, so it was very early in the season.
Gasparin teaming up with Heikki, Vega and Wiesner. Benny Vega could do with finding his top form. No surprise to see Kaisa Mäkäräinen just... is that Mäkäräinen? I thought Mäkäräinen was on the second leg. Is it Mari Laukkanen who's tucked in behind?
That was Laukkanen, yeah.
Yeah, she's skiing well, skiing just like Mäkäräinen.
Well,
and that's not uncommon, is it?
Yeah, well, she moved down to the Alps to train full-time down there, and you mentioned any big names. Mäkäräinen was training on the Kontiolahti range, and boy, has she improved her first shot time. So she was always a little careful getting down into position, but she's down to about a 14 to 16 second first shot release, and that's a big improvement in her shooting speed.
So Gasparin setting the pace, and it really is spreading the field out. We've got the Norwegians down in 6th or 7th. The Russians are in there as well, and Russia going nicely early on. Gasparin and Laukkanen. This is the sort of pictures that Kaisa Mäkäräinen likes to see, because if Laukkanen can stay in the top 3 or 4 on this first leg, Mäkäräinen will fancy her chances of handing over after the second leg in first place. Susan Dunkley, great season last year from Susan, and really encouraging for the American team. Their record in relays is not good, Mike. We see one or two brilliant performances, but very seldom do all 4 relay members produce that good result.
It's only the great days when all 4 do for most nations, but I agree there have been a few stumbling blocks in the American quartet. Hopefully it can go nicely today for them. But look how close it all is. If you make one small error, you're going to be absorbed by 1, 2, up to 5 teams. It's that tight now at the sharp end.
Yeah, just looking at the standing shooting record of the American team last year, 72, 69, 79, 73%. Compare that with the German team today, 87, 91, 73, 87. There's a massive margin there of what? Some 4, 5%. So it's no wonder that they're not getting close. So I really hope they've been working hard on their standing shooting over the summer, because if that's the case, they have real potential for not just featuring in World Cups, but winning them.
Very much. And looking at Laukkanen there, her movement on the skis, her strength, everything looks good. So Finland may be good now as a quartet, not just all about Mäkäräinen. Quite tense there, the facial expressions getting into position for Gasparin.
Dunkley very quick to strike with the first shot, and it was successful, but misses number 2. 3 and 4 have gone down. Russia perhaps rushing those first 2 shots. Sweden still clear. Gasparin 4 out of 4. Will she clean? She cleaned on the prone. No, she's thrown the last one wide. Sweden still clear. 4 out of 4 for them. This is good for the host nation. Well, that's an excellent start. Olsbu of Norway is away. She's handing over to Fanny Birkeland. And away goes Susan Dunkley. Those on the penalty loop. Anyone on the penalty loop? Belarus are Canada are going to be, and they've still got another 4 targets to go down. This could be a very expensive shoot indeed.
Oh, what a last shot for Laukkanen. I think that was no, on the penalty loop.
Well, I don't know what's going wrong with Julia Ransom for Canada, but Scott Gow and Brendan Green, who take legs 3 and 4, will not have enjoyed watching that. I didn't see Gasparin's final shooting score, Mike, but she's ended up 15 seconds behind the leaders, having come in with a decent lead. She
took her time on that last shot. She hit the first 4, missed the 5th target with her 5 magazine rounds, then she had to get one of the spares, and that just took her those extra seconds.
So only Sweden managing to clear 10 out of 10, and that has secured 2nd place for them behind Norway. They've since been overtaken. Susan Dunkley on the charge again.
Not just because of the home advantage, Patrick, but I think the Swedish team, 9th coming in, that's the ranking from last season. I think they have a strong chance to even podium today.
Podjefarova of Russia there. Slepceva and Babikov taking the single mixed relay later on this evening. And so the Russian team, Podjefarova, Akimova, Svetkov and Anton Shapulin, their trump card, taking the anchor leg. Dunkley's technique hasn't changed too much. I'd like you to analyse that. If we get another good long shot of the American sitting in 2nd place at the moment.
She's looking flowing, fluid there. She's quite, everyone's different, aren't they? There's a slight stiffness in her technique, but so powerful.
Olsbu looking very smooth in the lead. Just a little bit wider, Susan Dunkley. She's quick, doesn't get her feet anywhere near. I know coaching-wise, we're forever telling people to bring the foot right in before you go onto the new ski. But racing-wise, on the uphill climbs, they're not bringing it in. They don't want to waste the time bringing it right underneath.
And sliding forward, pushing the new foot forward as it's about to contact the snow surface.
So Norway with the lead, 14:28 on the clock at the moment. Slovenia making up the top 10 teams, 38 seconds separating them. That's really only 3 rounds. Should be able to load the spare round, something between 6 and 7 seconds. But if you miss 3 on a shoot, you can easily lose 30 seconds. So there will be changes as this race goes on. The Czech Republic having started well. I'm not sure what happened to Vitkova. Having done so well in the prone, things went horribly wrong on the stand. And Sweden back in front, which is encouraging for them.
Yeah, I think with Wolfgang Pichler back in charge, he has been for over a year now. I think he's really lifted the team, works the team well together, a good team spirit, and well, I think the evidence is quite positive so far. Of course, things can change, but this is looking very, very good.
Wolfgang Pichler, of course, has coached the Swedes in the past, had a little trip to Russia. I'm not sure he enjoyed that too much. An experience, an invaluable experience, I think he'll conclude as he goes on. But he's back with the Swedes. What does he do that other coaches don't?
I think he's such a big personality, and he's won the Best Coach IBU Best Coach Award a number of times. He's a different thinker. He trains the team very hard, by what I can understand. And the Russians were amazed that he was wanting them to do so much, and in fact a lot of them thought it was the wrong thing to do. Looking at the Swedish team, maybe it's the right thing to do, but I think he not only gives everything to the team, they know that, they believe in him, and that helps an athlete as well, doesn't it? If you believe the system that you're following, it can absolutely lift you to a high place.
Birkeland waiting to take over. The Americans starting to threaten again. Claire Egan taking the second leg for the United States. Sweden are still there, and Anna Magnussen's had an absolutely tremendous run, and this is a good start for them. Actually, they started really well in the mixed relays last year and then faded race by race. Just got worse and worse as the season went on. Let's hope that's not the case this year. The first leg of the first mixed relay has gone well for Sweden. They're right up with the race leaders. America on the left of your screen, Sweden in the fluorescent yellow in the middle, and then Norway on the right-hand side. That's Birkeland for Norway. No Eckhoff racing for the Norwegians. They're 2 men. Ole, Einar, Bjorndalen back in the mixed relay. Nice to see him here. I knew he was carrying on. I wasn't sure whether he'd want to race in all the relays. He's obviously as hungry as ever for racing experience, racing success.
Very much. He would not be starting in the team if he wasn't on form. It's always judged by performance, and clearly he's performing well, has been at the early season races.
And after Bjorndalen, it will be Johannes Tingest Bo. So the old and the young, the past and the future, racing one after the other for Norway. Already the margin sitting at 49 seconds.
Czech Republic 47, that's a long way to pull back, but they've got Kukalova now, as she's called, Gabi, and Schlesinger taking the third leg, and Moravec the anchor. That's a good team, good final 3.
Kukalova really has to push. Makarainen is there, so those two can work well together. At this stage, over 50 seconds behind, you've really just got to go flat out, haven't you? You can't play it tactically now.
I think you have. In Finland, we saw coming in for the second shoot, second place, and it went wrong. It went badly wrong on the range to lose 48 seconds. But Makarainen went out like a rocket.
Well, there are your leading teams. USA with Susan Dunkley, another solid performance from her. I think we're going to see her pick up a few World Cup wins. She skis fast enough to win. She looks to be shooting better than she has done in the past. When she hits all the targets, she's certainly going to be challenging for podium positions.
welcome back the second leg of the mixed relay in Ostersund. And Finland, Mäkäräinen really pulling the time back, was left with quite a bit of work to do after the first leg, but managing to catch that back in the skiing.
Kukaleva 41.1. She's looking strong.
Dynamic.
Yeah. We've seen her a lot more sluggish than that at this stage of the season, so that's encouraging news. Here's the leading group, and bib number 3, that's France with an ace Biscon. Norway just behind them, and Fanny Horn Birkeland for Norway. America with Claire Egan, and she just needs to, I think she's got to play it a little bit cautiously. She needs to hit the targets, and if she tries to stay with Norway and France and Sweden, I think the chances are she'll miss too many targets and lose touch.
It's not the we saw how many difficulties there were already first time in for the prone and the stand shoot, so it's definitely not an easy day for shooting, even though it is the easiest entry into the range.
So they've only got Monday and Tuesday to recover from today's exertions, but that's probably the ideal period of time. Blow away the race cobwebs, because it doesn't matter how many team races you do, it's not quite the same as racing at this level.
No, and then the cameras, the attention, the press attention for all nations, it really adds a bit of spice. And an interesting, Birkeland leading, and of course her husband winning yesterday, the first of the Biathlon international races over in Biathlon, the IBU Cup.
Yep, and in the women's, interesting results as well in the IBU.
That was a very interesting result. Denise Herrmann crossing over from her speed in cross-country skiing to learning the skills of biathlon this summer. How many times can a biathlete win a race missing 6 out of 10 targets? She won't get that chance many times. It was a windy day, that was the advantage. Most of the best shooters were missing targets as well, but she had the ski speed to win her first race.
So Norway ahead of France, who are ahead of Sweden. Switzerland have come back into it after a good final lap from Gasparin, and Switzerland now relying on Lena Heikki. And then we've got the Americans. Claire Egan's done well. The wind, I was just about to say, it's just calmed a little, but as I say that, a vicious little gust blowing, affecting lanes 1 through to 9 particularly.
Steen Eckhoff on the scope for Norway.
Sweden perhaps just rushing it a little. The first 2 were good. USA 3 out of 3. Norway 5 out of 5. Good shooting from Birkeland. France go clear as well. USA go 5 out of 5. And Sweden, the host nation, need to get this third spare. No, it's gone wide. And they're going to drop to the back of that leading group. That's if they can stay with it at all. Germany, Russia join the leaders. Things tightening up here in Ostersund. And Norway with the lead, 23-59. The team that won this event last year, leading out of the range for the 3rd time. 8 shoots, remember, in the mixed relay. So a long, long way to go, and the pressure builds as the race goes on. Team 6, Italy. Lisa Vitozzi took the first leg. Dorothy Vera, many of you will have recognized her just getting off the firing mat. Ukraine having a nightmare. Team that did very well at the World Champs, just missed out on a medal. 13-14 seconds off the podium.
Well, Julia Zima, it's normally so comfortable, so good on the range. That's her strength. Doesn't quite have the ski speed, but she's got 4 penalties. 1 target hit from 8 shots fired. Don't know what happened there. She won't know what's happened there until later.
No gain time-wise from Kukaleva, from 57 to 58 seconds, and not a bad gain from Mäkäräinen of Finland. She's got it down to 37, having started, what, 54 I think it was the margin when she started her leg. Might just see the fall of shot. That looked to be slightly high left.
Little, and using the Curvenin targets, which are the lollipop comes over, a counterbalance system. Two main systems, the Hora 2000 and the Curvenin.
Claire Egan, what a great start from her. And it would be very, very good to see one of the North American teams challenge for a podium finish here today. Lowell Bailey, Tim Burke taking legs 3 and 4. It's the same old team. Tim, great record in the pro, 91% hit all the way through last season. The standing was a different story, 73. So it could be the very final shoot. Well, should they still be in contention at that stage of the race?
All coaches and all athletes want to work on their weaknesses. Hopefully all summer he's been working on that stand shoot. Good to see Dahlmeier bringing Germany back. In fact, she's gained 10 seconds from the shooting, from the range to this point.
Is Dahlmeier going to be the #1? How do you feel? She missed, what, 7 races last year, still finished in 6th in the World Cup standings.
I predicted her as the overall winner last year, but she's got this issue where she gets bored and she needs breaks. So you could safely say she may not take part in all the races again this year. Not bored, but she needs the buzz. She needs to have a life as well as sport. She was saying.
So she was also unhealthy. She was also ill. Two bouts of what let's call it flu in inverted commas.
Well, yes, but no. If she's here all season, she's so reliable. Barely has a bad day in biathlon.
Mäkinen, 15 seconds on the climb out of the stadium. That's a fantastic shoot. 700 meters. She's gained 15 seconds on the race leaders. She is flying. Might pay a price when it comes to the second shoot. Kukalova, on the other hand, gaining just, 3 seconds she gained in the same period.
Surprising. Well, Mäkinen, with her real slender build, is the best climber, I would say, in women's biathlon. And that's really the area. You can't take too much time off athletes on this section. Yes, the glide of the skis is a factor.
Well, I'd normally agree with you, but I think that the downhills are actually quite technical here. If you can take them well, you can carry decent speed into the next uphill.
They're all pretty good, though.
So Birkeland, the first through 3.7. Now she has to just calm things down, start to prepare. Heike has got Switzerland back up into 2nd, Bescon of France in 3rd.
Look at Sweden. Öberg was over 18 seconds behind. She's got it down to 8.
Yeah.
And Birkeland's no slouch on her skis.
Dahlmeier's made good ground on this leg so far. Egan pretty much holding her own. Only 12 seconds down. I think she'll be happy with that. Birkeland is looking solid.
Focused as well. Coming in for in windy conditions, a more difficult shoot. Good sense there, not bringing the arms into work, into the headwind, just tucking low and trying to recover a little before the shoot. And the rest following suit.
Dahlmeier now into 2nd. Sweden at the back of that leading group with Claire Egan of USA just off the pace, but certainly no major damage done so far. This is an opportunity for the defending champions to make a break. Oleana Bjørndalen waiting to go for Norway. If Birkeland clears 5, the chances are Bjørndalen is going to be out front, leading the way. Strong wind. Germany miss with the first. Dahlmeier very seldom misses in the standing position, but she's thrown the first 2 wide. That will make her think a little bit. Switzerland have missed 3. France have missed 1. None of the leading teams are going clear. It's the wind that's picked up that's affecting them. Might be one of those times you just have to be patient.
Just back off, you know, you have to just calm it down when that wind is moving the rifle so much. Well done, Sweden and France.
Great work from Sweden to clear 5. I know they missed, but Hannah Oberg, I don't think she saw this in the script when she went to bed last night. And now all she's got to do is ski. No more shooting to do. France in second place with Justine, with Anaïs Bescon. Justine Brezard taking the first leg for them, of course. Norway have dropped back significantly, 9.3 behind, having been 3.5 seconds clear of everyone.
The USA, that's such a pity for Claire Egan from Lake Placid. Still 3 targets remaining, still 2 shots left.
But the clock isn't going to wait, Mike. 28, 29, 30 seconds behind. Teams streaming out of the firing point. Finland with Mäkäräinen. Well, we said 1, she's got to take the risk. 2, it might cost her, and it's done both.
It's strange. Her home range is probably the most. This is a windy range here, but we know in Kontiolahti it's the most windy range.
Look at those flags
circuit.
now. You know when the telltales are they're going up, not across.
But what's surprising me is Mäkäräinen, from being in the most windy range location, that's when you can learn your skills of mastering shooting in the wind. But it's not as easy to sit here and talk about it. Very difficult to do.
Belarus heading out with Irina Kryuku. Let's have a look at the positions. The host nation leading 30-31 after 4 shoots completed. Just another 2-kilometre lap to go on this second leg. But Sweden will be delighted with the way things have gone so far. Just looking to see at this stage last year, they were down in 6th position, already a minute off the lead. So it's a much, much better scenario for them.
I have to say for Sweden as well, Patrick, with Jesper Nellin going next, and we know how good Lindstrom is, and he's equally in good form again this season. But Nellin has really improved his game, so at the moment, they must be feeling pretty good.
We'll get another readout of the times as they come through. 4.7. Number 9, that's Hannah Oberg for Sweden. Just behind her, France. Anaïs Bescon has had a really solid performance. That will be a real boost for here. Dorothy Vera has snuck up on us, Mike, and put in an absolute stormer. The Italian, that's nice to see. Lisa Vitozzi, Dorothy Vera, legs 1 and 2. Lukas Hofer. Now, what's he going to be able to do on his leg? He's next to go for Italy, and then Dominic Vindish. And the Italians have won relays before, so that success in the past could prove to be vital. I know the conditions were very strange in Oberhof when they did it, but once you've won, you believe you can win again. Yeah,
no, very much so, and it wasn't a great start from Vitozzi. She struggled that first time into the range, and at the moment, looking brilliant for the Italians.
Right, who's going to be first in? Vera, followed by Dalmar?
Yeah, I'm going with that, yep. Dalmar, well, again, she pulls a lot of her time back on the climbs, but I'll stick with that. Björklund maybe going to close up, get on the tail of Vera.
Kukalova started 58. She's gained 0.6. Mäkäräinen started 55. She got to within 20, and she's yet to come through, having had a disaster on that second shoot on her leg. She's been on the penalty loop, I think, at least twice, possibly 3. We'll try and confirm that. Should be able to see that when we get a look at the standings.
Well, Björklund not going through, opting to stay in behind Sweden there, Öberg.
And all the while, Dalmar is catching. Last little climb for Dalmar to do some damage. She's not going to catch the race leader, Dorothy Vera.
Look how dynamic Dorothy is.
She's looking
this
great.
Season. This is stronger than, more dynamic than last year. Great start for her warm-up race, if you like.
Maybe it's our TV screen. I thought everyone was looking lighter, fitter, faster. There's Dalmar back to 5.9.
Well, they've all will be putting what, over 1,000 hours in or more in terms of specific training endurance, shooting skills in the gym.
Well, the Americans have dropped right down after that 4th shoot.
Dalmar going the long way around, but you still feel she is going to move up into that 2nd place. Björklund will try and hold her back.
So, first of the men, Lukas Hofer is ready to go. Which of the Lukas Hofers are we getting this year? We know he can ski fast, but the shooting, when it goes well, he's a World Cup winner. When it doesn't, he is way, way down and sometimes out of the point. So let's hope for Italy's sake that he is on form today, particularly with the rifle. Norway go out in second place. Uliana Bjorndalen playing it tactical already, just wants to tuck in behind someone else. And in these windy conditions, that's absolutely the right thing to do in the open part of the stadium. Once he gets into the woods, then he can start to push it.
Very much so. Fabian Cloud getting out. There he is. Just desperate to close that gap as quickly as he can. Then let himself just hang on in there with that lead group.
Yeah, we saw him at the European Championships. He did well there. We've seen him at the juniors. He showed real promise there. So an exciting prospect for the French.
Not yet. They produce them, don't they? They require such a high standard of shooting, of performance to get into the French national team. They need to be good to make that grade.
Do you think the French put Fourcade and Durant into the single mixed relay so they had a chance of winning both events? What's the psychology behind that?
We saw that in Canada, didn't we? The World Cup in Canada, they went in the single mixed relay. He loved it. He said he just loves this new race format. Again, maybe a bit of variety. You would think that without those two big names in this race, they really lessen their chances of winning this one by putting their two key players in the single mixed relay.
Are you saying he just likes to go twice?
Maybe. Lukas Hofer certainly has set a fast pace out of the stadium area into the woods.
So there are the margins at the halfway stage. The 2x6 legs are completed. Italy, Norway, Germany, the three leading teams. Are really not very much at all between the first six. Well, this is the situation at the front of the mixed relay. Germany going in front for the first time, Norway in second. Uliana Bjorndalen's not going to let Benedict Doll get too far ahead. And France clawing back the distance between themselves and the race leaders. This is Italy. Lukas Hofer.
He's really gone. Uliana Bjorndalen set off, what, just 3-4 seconds behind. He's now 16 behind. Bjorndalen, the master of pacing. Has Lukas Hofer gone too fast too soon? Certainly appears that way when he's really destroyed all the teams trying to hunt him down.
Well, this is the chase group. And Cloud of France, as you can see, has made contact.
They make that hill look quite easy. It's absolutely not. And even down here, the course, although it's it feels an easy course, you have to really work on that fast descent, then the right-hander followed by a very fast left-hander. So your legs really don't get much recovery at all. Your breathing gets your breathing can be kept under control on those descents, but your legs are still exploding.
Well, nice footwork from Lukas Hofer. I wonder if he'll be so light-footed next time he comes round, or indeed on the third loop. What is the margin? 17.8 seconds. And Hofer has done a bit of damage on that first 1500 metres. But he has to back the speed up with some good shooting, and the Italian team of coaches will be just a little bit nervous.
Well, Zingerle knows how all this works, and he really has given this Italian team calm and shooting skills, as well as the much improved skiing speed.
83% hit rate last year in the prone for Hofer. He was down at 76 in the stand. That is not so good. Compare that to someone like Arnt Pfeiffer, who was 90 and 87. Oliana Bjorndalen, he was 84, 84.
Well, this is good from the Italians, and they were going well last year until they made a few silly mistakes, shooting on the wrong target and mistakes on the penalty loop. But looking fantastic today. Strong wind from the left. Well, it's just calming down now, so it's a variable wind, which is always difficult. 2 clicks to the left, accounting for the drop in wind.
Just have a listen to the breathing. Watch the end of the rifle. That's encouraging. Stays focused as the chasing 4 teams take their positions on the firing mat. 5 out of 5. Well done, Lukas Hofer. That's a good start. And Zingerle already with a little smile on his face. Norway with Bjorndalen, 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. Good fast shooting from him. France clear 5, do they? Yes, they do. So do Germany and the host nation, Sweden, the only ones suffering. The first shot from Jesper Nellin. That's going to mean he's got a margin of what? 7-8 seconds to make up on the back of the chase group. They're not out of it yet. They are not out of it by any means, and Sweden have Freddie Lindström on the last leg. If he's in any sort of form, he can close down a gap like that.
Pity for Nellin there. He lost himself 12 seconds in that first shot, missed. He was very quick getting the spare rounds in and lining up for the next shot. Russia haven't really been at the races. Svetkov pretty good, 5 out of 5.
Anton Shapulin on the last leg for Russia. He's fairly handy. 3rd in the World Cup standings last year, Anton Shapulin. Schlesinger into 7th, 103. So the margin is growing for the Czech Republic. 3rd last year, and they finished the day 111 behind.
There you go, look at the eye blind on his right side, just the strength of the lights from the right here. He obviously finds that an irritation in his right eye. Well, everything about Hofer looked brilliant. His skiing, his shooting pace, his shooting accuracy. Yep, job done. Zingerle was one of the best shots. In fact, you could say he was just so reliable until the biggest of days. Hit the first 15 at the Olympic Games in '92 in the 20-kilometer. All he had to do was, he was so far ahead of the field, all he had to do was hit 4 targets out of 5, he'd still get the gold. Hit 3 out of 5, he'd still get a bronze. He only hit 1 out of 5 and dropped down to 18th in a 22nd maybe position. And that was tough for him to come back. He never did actually come back from that, from the biggest day. Such a pity, but that is biathlon.
Look who's on the charge, Mike. He may be well over 41. But it's not slowing him down yet. Good effort from Bjorndalen. Goes through 6.6 behind. And that's a good gain from the Norwegians. France hanging on in there. Germany are up there. So the 3 of the 4 big nations. And then Italy and Sweden, we'd expect to see them competing for at least 50% of the race. They've done a little bit better than that. Nellin drops back to 21 seconds.
Well, actually, remember, that's an improvement, actually. When he left the range, it was 27, so good for him. He has got the ski form as well. Bjorndalen, what a master of pacing. Didn't go with it early on, and now he's pulling it back 2nd lap.
Well, I must say, Bjorn Dahlen's technique looks slightly better than Benedict Doll, who he always looks a little unsteady on the ski, but Bjorn Dahlen looking very efficient. And I just wondered whether you thought he's upped the tempo a little, because he obviously hasn't got the power he used to have, and he's making up for that by just increasing the tempo, particularly on that skate too.
He just seems at the top of his, well, first lap you could tell he was just keeping it smooth, and now he seems like he was 15, 20 years ago in the World Cup. Sparky, dynamic, reading the terrain, reading the strategies, better than anybody.
And hauling in Lucas Hofer. Well, this is going to be an interesting battle. They've got a minute or so to go. Should be on the range at around 47.05.
Hofer, though, you mentioned the first time Hofer danced around that corner. His legs weren't dancing anymore. He really pushed hard on that first lap. Bjorn Dahlen, on the other hand, looked at Sparky around that corner on the high point. It's quite a steep field, this. Remember, we had our accommodation here with it just behind the camera at the World Championships here 2008. Well, Hofer sensing that the pack, the athletes chasing him are closing down, might unsettle him into the stand chute.
Unless, of course, he's decided to take the second loop easy, make the standing chute easier.
Look at the line Bjorn Dahlen's taking. Faster snow way out there. It looked like he's going the long way around. And then it gives him a good line into this bend. You can see the damp snow as well.
As each chute goes by, the situation gets more and more crucial. Here we go then. Italy in lane 1, Norway in lane 2 with Bjorn Dahlen, and then it's going to be France in lane 3, Germany in 4. First to strike should be the Italians. It is. Shot for shot. Oh, I think Hofer thought that was down, broke his position.
Bjorn Dahlen, that was outstanding.
Bjorn Dahlen, 5 out of 5, and what an impression he's making. Anyone who thought he should have retired at the end of last season needs to think again, because that was a sensational performance. And the word is he's going all the way to Pyeongchang next year. And of course, we do have a World Championships this year, taking place in Hochfilzen in Austria, incidentally.
And he loves Hochfilzen. Look at Italy. Hit the first 4, he had 3 spare shots and didn't get any of them.
Wow.
What a
handing
turnaround.
A massive lead to Norway. And Benedict Doll with a 25-second gap. The Swedes are in trouble as well. They've got 1 penalty loop, certainly.
It's not an easy time, although the wind dropping again now. Oh, that's a pity for Nellin.
This is Svetkov of Russia. Hit 90% in the stand last year, so you'd expect him to clear 5. 1, 2, 3.
Well, it just shows how much it can change on the range. And for the last leg athlete as well, and Johannes Tingesbø, he'll have a good lead, you'd expect.
Well, look at those margins. What did we have? We had 5 teams within 20 seconds. Halfway through that last lap, we now only have 1 man on his own in that time margin. Bjorn Dahlen, 25 clear of Doll. Hofer of Italy comes out in 3rd, 46, despite doing multiple penalty loops. And there you see the shooting scores. The 2 best shooting scores, well, apart from Russia, who've only missed 5 so far, are 1 and 2.
What an incredible biathlete.
Yeah, still the perfectionist. That's what he's after. He's more concerned about his performance than he is about his position.
And I think he's got that ability, as you say, his own performance, just to focus in on what he's good at, how he's going to control the rifle. It absorbs his thinking, takes the fear away, and it just masters everything.
Well, it's also going to be interesting to see whether he can hold that gap over the rest of the field. 25 clear, remember, of Germany coming out of the firing point. And, well, he's not hanging back. We'll get a split at 6.2, and then he's just got another 1,300 meters to go. Any changes in the technique? There's absolutely no doubt he will have changed something from last year.
Very little noticeable change there, Patrick, but he's just looking dynamic. He was looking at times a little sluggish last year, a little less explosive, transferring the weight from one ski to the other. But
yeah, what a contrast.
Now. Yes, it's Benedict Doll. He really, not many athletes rotate, or sorry, lift the head as much as he does.
Well, he's closed the gap 3 seconds, but still some way to go. 1,300 meters to go. You would expect the more efficient skier to be a little bit quicker over the last kilometer. That is not Benedict Doll. Here's the fight for third place at the moment. Lukas Hofer, good for him that he's got some company. Fabian Cloud there as well.
Well, he's pulled back 2 seconds, Hofer, on Bjorn Dahlen's time, but it's always tough coming off the penalty loop, having gone on that flat 150-meter penalty.
Sweden's Jesper Nellin, he'll be thinking about those missed targets.
He's pulled back 11 seconds, yet Nellin is punishing himself for the mistakes made on the range.
Schlesinger with the Czech Republic, still 1 minute behind, but slowly but surely they're getting up towards the podium positions, up to 6th now, having been outside the top 10 early on after a disaster on the standing chute. Well, we could well see the same 1, 2, 3 as we saw last year. Norway, Germany, the Czech Republic. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's definitely a possibility.
Well, so much we saw there on that stand shoot, so much can change. So maybe there is another chapter still to for this race to unfold. Benedict Doll, all the athletes on the last leg after the final shoot are told just to give it everything on the track.
Johannes Tingesbo taking the last leg for Norway. That's not very good news for Germany, who have Arndt Pfeiffer on the last leg. Pfeiffer didn't appear to fire too well last year. 11th position in the overall World Cup. Compare that to Johannes Tinges' 2nd place. So maybe most people will have their money on Norway securing the victory here. They were the mixed relay champions last year, ahead of Germany and France. Russia in 4th place. And away they go. 5 races in mixed relay last year. Norway were never off the podium. 2 wins, 3 times in 3rd place. Germany, on the other hand, a 3rd, a 2nd, a 7th. That was in Canmore. And then they had a win in the 2nd mixed relay in Canmore, and a 3rd place, a 2nd place at the World Championships behind the Norwegians.
Well, Benedict Doll pulling 4 seconds back there on the last 2.5 kilometers on Bjorn Dahlen. Hofer is exhausted.
It was going so well. Looked very, very promising for Italy, but from 17 seconds clear, he ends up 37 behind. France exit the stadium. The crowd just rising as Jesper Nellin comes in. And now Freddie Lindstrom will know that it's going to take a perfect performance. Well, he's really relying on Norway and Germany making catastrophic mistakes. But if he puts in a perfect performance, a podium is still very much possible, whatever the leaders do.
I think so. And Nellin did a great job there. He pulled back it was 1:12. He's pulled back 14 seconds on the lead team on Bjorn Dahlen's time. This is all just a little bit easy start there for Russia and the Czech Republic. Looks like Latvia.
Well, we could see a few teams being lapped today. That's Romania, who will be pulled out after the last shoot. now that Norway have gone ahead. Johannes Tingesbo flying around that section. Had a good record in the prone shoot, Johannes Tinges, last year, 89%, so should be able to hold on to his lead through the first section, the first shoot. Pfeiffer, a World Cup winner, strong athlete when he's on form.
Remember towards the end of last season when he had a pretty bad impact onto a tree head first over in Canada, or was it in North America at the end of last season? Hospitalized, but came back.
Presque Isle, I think it was, where he...
Presque Isle, that was it.
Through the silver birch trees. Literally.
He's pretty good on his skis, timing and balance, but they're skinny skis, not much control from fairly lightweight boots or ankle support. 29 behind, and he started off 17 behind, so Johannes Tingesbo is absolutely burning up the track.
Italy versus France for third position at the moment. Dominic Vindish, who had some great races out in Canada at the end of last season. So 103 behind now for Lindström. Has he made any ground on the two teams in front?
The coach was saying he's lost 4 seconds of the lead time, but I think he has made an impression on Germany. Yes, he has, and also on Italy.
Yeah, might have been advisable for the coach to say you're gaining on second place rather than you're losing on first place.
Well, that's right. All his other times were to the positive.
Yeah, yeah.
Here a second there. Now, is Johannes Tinges his youthful enthusiasm, or does he just fight like this all the time? Of course he does. But he'll be thinking, well, I just need to recover. His shooting is very, very, very fast, as we saw last year, especially in the standing. But sometimes with that comes risk.
A year older, a year wiser.
I wonder. Well,
in our case, a year slower.
Never. But Johannes, what a class act he is. What do you think? Has he got a chance of threatening the great Martin Fourcade to take the overall title for a, what is it, 5th consecutive time?
Well, he's certainly good enough. I think the one aspect missing from his game is consistency, and that takes many, many years to develop.
I suppose it's on Fourcade. Is he going to be less enthusiastic? Has he lost his desire even a little? Those are the big questions. Anders Besseberg, president of the IBU, in the background behind Stian Eckhoff.
Nice to see a good long look down the range, just checking out the wind conditions. There's the target. You can see the misses. They're all from the standing position. That was high right. Needs to rein it in a little. Smack in the middle for 4. Ooh, high left for 5. So a little erratic. And if this goes down, he'll only have lost some 7 seconds. He's got it. High left again, but safely inside that prone target. And Pfeiffer's chance of taking the lead after the prone shoot have gone. Change of psychology for the German. Now has to worry about defending second place. Looks as though he's, I was just going to say he's going about it the right way.
Well, that's Johannes missing the last shot. Pfeiffer missing the last shot. Chance for Sweden to get back into it. Mark Kirchner just noting them down, that missed shot down for later.
Vindish of Italy misses the last shot as well. Is that all 4 leading teams missing shot number 5?
It's incredible.
Sweden missed shot number 1. That's expensive. That was a real opportunity for Lindström.
And he's now, look at the thinking
And
time.
now, yeah.
He doesn't want to make a mess of this.
He doesn't want to give Russia a chance. Anton Shapulin doesn't need to be given a chance. He's blasted his way past the Swedes. And it's Russia who go up into 4th place. Bo, Pfeiffer, Vindish, the leading 3. Oh, this is tough for Lindström. Needs to stay strong mentally. He's got it, but it's taken a long, long time. That is not a good shoot. And Wolfgang Pichler won't be happy with that.
No.
There'll be some stern words.
Well, I'm surprised, I really am. And racing at home must be very difficult. And maybe just feeling a little bit of that pressure to try and put it together so well. Often it goes wrong in biathlon.
Well, someone else who could challenge Fourcade for the overall World Cup this year is, of course, Anton Shapulin.
He could, I've thought that for so many years. His skill set had the strength that he was as a junior, but he has too many bad days, doesn't he? He has a lot of good days, but that's where Fourcade just eliminates the threat from anyone else, because he has so few bad days. His bad days are still pretty good. Yeah,
Shapulin was tired at the end of last season. He had a couple of really poor results in the last few races, particularly, sadly for him, in Khanty-Mansiysk. We weren't expecting to see that.
Well, maybe even if not Johannes, maybe his brother will be able to lift his game.
Yeah, whereas when Fourcade has a bad day, he's generally still in the top 15.
Occasional real bad ones, and he normally has them here, like 74th in the 20K, but it's rare.
21st he was last year in the opening individual race of the year.
Remember the year before, though, it was a horrible one.
It was worse than that.
Johannes Tingis at the front there looked a little more relaxed, composed with his 33-second lead after the prone shoot. Well, the 33-second lead is going to be close to 43 now. 12 seconds ahead of place 3.
Now, is that the sort of information that would get you fired up? Well, it's quite a wise choice. He doesn't want to be told he's 40 seconds off the leaders.
I was going to go for the positive. Say, right, you're only 40 behind Johannes Tingis Bo. But yes, maybe that is the thing to do. You're 12 ahead of 3rd. I don't know, I would prefer not to know that, because you sense, you know there's an athlete behind you. Well done, Shapulin, though, coming back, bringing the Russians back into it.
It's a really tricky one, isn't it, Mike? Because I'm pretty sure Pfeiffer will have been thinking, right, if I clear all 5 and Johannes Tingis has a mistake, thinking positively, clearing 5. Now he's thinking, if I miss, I'm going to lose 2nd place. So
the coach has put the threat, right, your importance is that guy behind you instead of that guy in front of you. Chasing is always easier, isn't it, than being chased.
But I think we should point out just how difficult it is as the coach to get accurate information. Yeah. 5 with 5 for Johannes Tingis, and the race will belong to the defending champions once again. Norway disappointed with their 3rd place in the World Championships behind France and Germany. They won just about everything else. It was Fourcade and Norway in Oslo at the World Championships last year. From 23 to 33 to 43 almost. My goodness. And I'm not sure that Germany still have a 12-second lead over Italy. Vindish now 11. Vindish has got to do better than his teammate Hoffer. those cartridges landing there? Someone, I'm sure there were only 2 initially.
There were. Someone's stacking them up. That's the empty brass shell. Mazet coaching in the Norwegian jacket there, coaching the Norwegian women now. Moved over from the French team.
Masterclass. Johannes Tingis, no pressure, shows what he can do, and that is the sort of form that will win him world titles, will win him Olympic Games. Big smile on his face. He loves it when it goes right, and it's gone right for him today. But it's not just about Johannes Tingis, Bo. Olsbu, Birkeland, Bjorndalen all played a crucial role. It's going to be a convincing win for Norway. They only won by 33 seconds last year.
Be more than that this year.
Yeah, it's going to be more. They missed 9 targets last year.
Well, silver looks pretty much nailed on for Germany, but it's a big fight for the bronze.
Yeah, Vindish has got to decide. Does he push to try and stay ahead of Shapulin? That miss could be expensive.
Same as Hoffer, the last shot.
Could be expensive. Shapulin looking for 10 out of 10. He's got 10 out of 10. So good shooting from Shapulin. He'll now be chasing Pfeiffer. That will be an interesting one. Vindish needs to get in the slipstream of the Russian, and that could give him a chance of getting Italy on the podium. He cannot let that gap of 4-5 meters open up anymore if he wants a chance. The Czech Republic, one bad shoot really today, and it came from Kukalova. Good finish from Lindstrom. That's much, much better, and he'll have a great ding-dong battle with Andrei Moravec on the final leg. Moravec, I think, might let him go first. He wants protection from the wind.
Looks that way, doesn't it? Doesn't want to take the early work, and neither does Lindstrom, really. A bit slow getting out. I think they realise they can't close down. They can't really close that gap up to France.
Well, that's a real confidence booster for Johannes Tingis, and of course the Norwegians before the individual World Cup start on Wednesday. Can you remember the programme offhand? Wednesday, I think, the women's individual.
That's right.
Thursday, the men's.
Again, an afternoon start in darkness. Thursday, the men's, and then the sprints. I'm just wondering if Johannes Tingis will take that the final 2.5 kilometers a little slower. Probably not. Just testing his feeling for the races to come here. Now, this is an interesting little battle for the third position.
Yeah, Vindish has done well. He's got in touch, but the tough section's about to start. The long climb up to this split point. I think Shapulin might be able to extend the lead, but nice to see the Italian fighting. We saw a win from him in the mass start out in Canmore, it was last year, wasn't it? It was a fantastic race.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, really impressive.
There was a feeling that he might be caught, but he dug deep, really came up with some magic. But Shapulin is such a good finisher in the final sprint normally.
Well, I think the German team are skiing a little lighter than normal as well, slightly higher tempo, a little more dancing going on than we've seen in the past. Where did it go wrong for Italy? Hoffer's first shoot?
Hoffer's...
or was it his stand?
It was his stand, wasn't it? Hit very fast, 4 out of 5, and the final shot, his 3 spare rounds, he couldn't put it down. And often that trips you up. You get frightened, you tense up. You need to try and remain, even in the storm of racing, try to keep relaxed through the rifle.
France 118, they're a little bit in no man's land as we go back to the battle between Sweden and the Czech Republic. Lindstrom in yellow, Moravec wearing bib number 4. Well, I remember the Czech team when they had the World Championships in Novo Mesto. They started the championships off with a bang, getting themselves a medal. And ever since then, they've been a real threat, both in individual races and the relays.
Yeah, that really has brought them into the top end of biathlon, having the World Championships at home, all the public interest, and one of the spectators were fantastic there, 22,000 people.
Yeah,
in
packed stadiums every night. It was
brilliant.
It was good World Championships, no doubt about it.
As the races are unfolding for the bronze medal position here, you just feel that Italy tying up a little, Vindish really working hard to stay with Schipulin.
Pfeiffer will enjoy turning around this corner. He'll get to see exactly where the opposition are. Johannes Tingesbo is already back down in the stadium. It's an easy finish here, long glide into the finish. You could do with a little climb up to the finish line. So, victory number 1 for Norway. Started where they left off. The Nations Cup standings champions last year. They won the mixed relay standings last year with 2 wins and 5 out of 5 on the podium. Germany in second. This is the battle for third, and Schipulin wisely going ahead before the corner, but Dominic Vindish is in the slipstream. He's got to use it to full advantage as they come off the slight downhill. Now they break to the right. It's still Schipulin leading as we see Germany cross the line in second. Schipulin on the far side, usually the master of the sprint, but Dominic Vindish has found the better of him. That's a really good finish, nice to see, and Italy are on the podium.
Well, it's a lot of work taking the lead for 99% of that 2.5 kilometers for Schipulin. Vindish was definitely suffering halfway around that track, but he realized if he just held on, he had a chance, and he took that chance well.
France are off the podium down in 5th, but don't forget they've put their 2 strongest skiers, Martin Fourcade and of course Marie Durin, going in the single mixed relay, which is later on this evening. Lindström trying to out-sprint the Czech Republic, and Moravec thrusts the leg forward. Photo finish for those 2. Where's your money? I think it's on. I think it was on Moravec, actually.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was.
Only because Sweden have a brighter suit. Biggest foot wins, I think on this occasion. It's very take Let's have a look.
No.
Well, this isn't the photo. This is no doubt about it.
Where's Ole in this celebration?
Olsbu, Birkeland, Bjorndalen, and Johannes Tingesbo wraps it up. That standing shoot was something else. We'll try and get the timings on that.
America started so well.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of them. Shooting scores.
Shooting score.
2 penalty loops, 11 or what's that, 13 misses in all?
Yes, a lot of misses there. Switzerland just behind, well, behind them.
Russia the best shooting today, just 5 missed targets. Norway and Germany missed 6 apiece.
Sweden did just nip in there, given the same time.
USA ranked 7th, finishing 8th. Not a disaster. 2:38, that second leg. It was looking so good. Claire Egan having problems with the standing shoot. Susan Dunkley, I think she's indicated that she is certainly World Cup winning potential for this season.
Oh, she had so much
strong,
so much strength, pulling time back easily on the climbs.
Yeah, what an engine. Well, here is that photo finish. Moravec of the Czech Republic on the near side. Yeah, easy win, you're right.
Yeah, half a mile.
Good win, and Lindström.
Are your eyes going
yeah, well, they went a long time ago. They went a long time ago. It was the angle. Well, Austria, that's disappointing for the Austrians. Rieder, Schweiger, Eberhardt, Landertinger, change of guard in the women's team.
And that's with the World Championships going to Hochfilzen this year, ranked 11th, down to 13, staying 11th, I should say, in this race. But 3:33 behind for Austria, it's a huge margin.
Do you think Austria will pay a price for keeping their big guns racing so long? The Sumans not giving the youngsters a chance, enough experience at World Cup level?
I do think that. But they have, however, got a very strong winning medals at the Junior World Championships now, so they have a good batch coming through now. But I think you're right. They've stayed with the same regulars for a very long time, and it kills off those who are trying to make it because there's nowhere to go. There's a blockage.
But what's their quota been? Just trying to remember. Norway obviously have full quota, which gives you much more opportunity to say,